Hello, everyone. It is Sunday, March 2nd, and I have to openly admit I messed up yesterday. I completely forgot that Saturday the 1st was the start of Venus retrograde, and I should have done a reading about that, but I was like too distracted with everything else going on. So what is Venus retrograde, right? It just means that the planet itself appears to us that it's orbiting in the opposite direction. When that happens, a retrograde happens, it kind of throws things off a little bit. So what does this mean? It doesn't mean necessarily that you're breaking up, okay? It does mean you're gonna have some kind of rough patches if you are currently in a relationship. If you are single, your ex is coming. I'm sorry. They are. I know from personal experience. It happened. It happened to me. Okay. It's very likely going to happen to you. Does this mean you were supposed to get back with your ex? I don't know. I actually don't know. It's a little mixed. I think more than anything, it's really a time to reevaluate what do you want from relationships, right? Romantically, platonically, and if things aren't working out, Venus retrograde is going to expose that if you're in a relationship. If you're not and you're single, you really need to take time and figure out, like, what is it you want for yourself? And if your ex is coming back into your life, how have things changed? Do you want that relationship again, truly? What are you willing to do to help move that forward? Now, the retrograde is going to last about 6 weeks, so this is not a decision that you need to rush at all. That being said, Mercury goes into retrograde mid-month, so they're going to be on top of each other, which means that, like, love and relationships, the communication is going to go wild too. You're going to have a lot of, like, miscommunication, text messages that don't get sent, computers crashing, all of that stuff. So just be very kind to yourself and the people in your life for the next, like, month and a half, because it's going to be a bit crazy. And it's not necessarily anybody's fault, but you got to take an extra breath and be willing to communicate. That's the biggest thing out of the next couple of weeks. So yeah, just take that into consideration with everything you're doing moving forward right now. Okay. So all of that being said, I did put a lot of intention today into my deck to see what is the message that we need for Venus retrograde. Okay. And the card, okay. The Empress. When I pull this card, the only thing I hear is you're a bad bitch. I don't care what gender you are. You're a bad bitch, right? You are in charge of your life and the decisions you make, and people should be coming to you. People should be falling at your feet, right, to decide what it is that they want. They should worship you, whoever you are, because you are fucking worthy. Okay? Don't get it twisted. There is so much here. I'm just going to hold it up so you can see. You are on a throne. You are gorgeous. You are abundant. You can see, like, all of the growth, all of the wheat, right? The trees in the background. Like, that's success, man. Like, living your life. Let people come to you. You get to dictate how others treat you in your life. They don't get to dictate that to you. So I would say for Venus retrograde, like, let's lay back a little bit. Let people treat you how they're going to treat you, because that's going to be exposing of a lot of things. And I promise you, the people that are meant to be in your life, good, bad, romantically, platonically, family, they're going to show up how they're supposed to. Okay. I'm going to pull a second card because I feel like this is a big day. Okay. So Temperance. You can see here that Temperance is represented essentially by an angel who is moving water between cups, right? As we talk about, like, cups in general or emotion, you can see that there's an emotional flow here. And for me, for Venus retrograde, this means this is a smooth communication. So if you want this relationship with anyone in particular, with yourself, you need to be able to have that emotional maturity to sit down and have tough conversations. And like in Empress, with Temperance, you have this abundance, this growth, right, of everything that is happening. The sun in the background, things are going really, really well. So Venus retrograde with Mercury retrograde does not have to be tense. It doesn't have to be angry. It doesn't have to be, what's the word that I'm looking for? scary. It doesn't have to be like all upheaval. There we go, in your life. It's not everything's going to turn on its head. But you have to be willing, both parties, whatever that is, have to be willing to openly communicate. Now, maybe that's going to lead to fights. It happens. Fighting is normal to a degree, but you have to then be willing to take a step back and be calm and actually say your truth and speak your truth, right? Okay, so I was actually compelled to pull a third card, and lo and behold, Justice. So we have all of this major arcana energy coming in for Venus retrograde. How does justice play into all of this? I literally can't say this other way. You're going to get your just rewards. And I mean that from the most positive place possible. But you have to be willing to have this temperament, right? Temperance. You have to be willing to see the fruits of your labor. You have to be willing to, and again, this is in regards to relationships, right? Like you maybe have been in a relationship for a long time, or maybe it's a new relationship. You're still cultivating, even if it's an older relationship. If you want that to continue to last, you have to help it thrive. You have to help it grow. So you need to figure out what that looks like, right? Regarding justice. If things are meant to be, you are going to come out of the next 6 weeks like in an amazing place. If you are not meant to be, things are going to get cut. Things are going to get axed. People are going to get what they're supposed to. And I don't mean like people are going to be beheaded. I just mean like the relationship's going to fizzle out, and maybe you move out. Maybe you move on. Maybe there's a new person that comes down the line or something like that. And that's sad. You're allowed to mourn for things, but also like it's for your highest good. It's for the better in the long run. If you're single, what does this mean? If you have an ex coming back in, what I'm hearing is simply that, again, one of two things will go down. You will kind of figure out through communication. See, I'm even stumbling over it right now. You will figure out through communication and through calm and temperament that is opening and welcoming, whether or not they really are serious. What are they willing to do to be in your life? What are you willing to do to be in their life? You also have to respect everybody's boundaries, because just because you want a relationship to come back does not mean that they do. Does not mean it's the right time. Does not mean that they are on the same page as you, right? So in this case, to me, justice would simply mean either way, whether you end up with an ex or not, it's what's meant to be, and you have to accept that. If you're single and you're working on yourself, girl, you have no idea what is coming for you on the other end of this Venus retrograde, because taking that time for yourself and reevaluating, my God, you will be setting yourself up so much better. You will be light years ahead of where you are right now, and it might not be obvious immediately, but it will come to fruition, right? And that's a lot of temperance too, is fruitfulness, right? Abundance, as I mentioned. So my God, this is so much better than I thought it was going to be for Venus retrograde. Take all of that as you will. Take time for yourself, reevaluate your relationships, and communicate. Okay. All right. That's it for today, guys. And I will talk to you tomorrow.